morning. I've started reading that book that we discussed, Evidence That Demands a Verdict. And I thought I would go through and read some of the passage to you and show my reaction to them. So in the first chapter of the book, the author, Josh McDowell, describes how he came from a home where his father was an alcoholic and very abusive, and he was angry at the world, angry at his father, and had rejected Jesus. And during his college years, he was partying and living a lifestyle that was not making him happy. He was quite miserable. And he met a group of Christians and was impressed by a couple of factors about them. Let me read here what he says. There was something different about them. They seemed to know who they were and where they were going in life. And they had a quality I deeply admire in people: conviction. There's a certain dynamic in the lives of people with a deep conviction, and I enjoy being around people with that dynamic, even if their beliefs differ from mine. It was clear to me that these people had something I didn't have. They were disgustingly happy, and their happiness didn't ride up and down with the circumstances of life. It was constant. They appeared to possess an inner source of joy, and I wondered where it came from. So my reaction to that is, this is the same type of thing that I heard over and over again in the church about people who have an initial meeting with Mormons of some sort, and then they are attracted to something about them. And so this is something I've heard many times. What is so different about you Mormons? I think that really what he's hit upon here, he says it in his own book, conviction. People are very, very convinced and actively pursuing a path. They do have a certain quality or character about them because, unlike many people who are kind of drifting, they have a focus, and there is a certain amount of happiness and satisfaction that will come from having a deep focus on anything. And so this is being portrayed as a way to bring us into the idea that this is pure truth. But I don't really find that it is actually all that moving. So then he goes on to describe how he met this, one of the Christians was a girl, and he asked her what had changed her life, and she answered that it was Jesus Christ that had changed her life. And he challenged her on that, and he ridiculed churches, and she said, I didn't say religion, I said Jesus. Again, this is a nice point, and it's a fine point that Christians believe that it's the relationship with Jesus Christ that will actually change your life, not actually religion. Yet religion is itself very, very fundamental to passing on these beliefs, these structures. Without having that mechanism, that organization of a church to pass these on, they will fall flat and die out quickly. So there is a need for structure in anything to bring this opportunity forward. He then goes on, he left the university for a short time because he wanted to go study and research Christianity and prove these guys wrong, write a book about it. And in that process, he came to the conclusion that it was actually true. And again, he puts himself forward as if he was this unbiased observer who, had everything stacked against belief. And yet I really don't believe that's true. From the very get-go, he was struck with this, with the happiness of these other people, and that they had this sense of conviction that he was lacking. Again, so many times you could draw parallels to this with the Mormon Church or with any other faith tradition where people do actually join other religions. For example, a cult like the Moonies or the Christian Scientists. People have similar transitions where they see people who strike them as a certain way, and so they are motivated strongly to figure out what it is, and as they dig into it, they find something that convinces them that these people are right, they know what they're talking about. So I don't buy it that he was this, that his conversion to Christianity is somehow in and of itself any kind of a proof that it's true. He then goes on and tells about how over the following few months after becoming a Christian, accepting Jesus, that his heart began to change. And then as he as those changes began to appear in him, that his father saw that in him, and one day asked him, if God can do that for you, can He do that for me? And then he saw those changes occur in his father as his father embraced Christianity just a few months before he died from complications from his alcoholism. So again, comparing this to my roots, my parents joined the Mormon Church when they were very young, and well, not very young. They were newly married, and I was their first child. They, yes, they joined the church. They came from a place where they were wandering without really any roots. Both of them had been to a few churches in their lives, and they had some exposure to Christianity. Both of them had been exposed to Bible reading when they were a child in their family, and they both had Christian beliefs, but they deeply fell into Mormonism, deeply connected, and it has been a pillar that has guided them throughout their life and has brought many positive blessings into their lives. And you can't get my parents to even think of the possibility that what they did was not actually correct. So what I'm saying is there is power in many different faith traditions to actively improve and better a person's life, take them from a place of nothing to a place of having something that's deeply meaningful to them. That doesn't actually prove that it's true. It's something more about human nature that given something to believe in, something to hold on to, that we can improve our lives. So he starts, just the way he starts off with this book, it's appealing to emotion, and it's appealing to these ideas that just don't hold up, especially when you're talking to a person like me who comes from a background where I've seen these exact same ploys used to promote an alternative religion. So using the same methods and the same tactics, that just doesn't carry any water with me. It also does not connect to the reality that it's planting a false expectation. It's planting this expectation that if you believe in Jesus and you accept this certain set of doctrines, that you can expect to have these big changes, God moving in your life and making these things happen. And that also, again, belies my own history, my own experience with these things. I spent many, many years with a very devout, very deep belief in Jesus, and in a deep effort to make this a part of my life. And there's not a miraculous change. And so these types of stories foster this expectation where people believe that if they adopt this certain philosophy, they can and should expect these types of changes will happen in their lives.